Taking the time, how are you? Good. Taking the time to be here with us, especially the town administrator, Jamie Helens here, council president, council chair, Tom Mercer, members of the council, Basante, Chandler, Hamlin is here, we have Representative Roy here. We really have some colleagues, some fire chiefs from throughout the area. Chief Lynch is here. We appreciate it. We have some retired firefighters from Franklin here, and some of our active firefighters who are off duty here as well. I know we got our chaplain, Rick McCoo here as well. So thank you. This is pretty much a very special day for us. And then last but not least, I'm sorry, we have Bellingham Sergeant Ed Gazowski here to thank him and to take receipt of this beautiful antique fire truck that was here from 1949 to 1985 for the town of Franklin. It served from 85 to 95 in the town of Bellingham, and then its last fire was right here in Franklin at the Dean Dorm fire in 1995. And some of the folks I spoke to that are here in Franklin were at that fire. So this truck has a lot of history, it has a lot of great stories. There's a story that former Chief Malloy, whose wife is here, took this truck back in 1972, drove it to Pennsylvania and had the engine converted from an engine to a Detroit diesel engine. And a little later on we have a special presentation for her, so we're glad she's here. We know that Ed had several choices with this truck. He had choices that probably would have benefited him personally, financially, if he went elsewhere. But he realized that he really thought that this truck belonged here, back in Franklin, back home. And we really are extremely grateful, Ed, for that opportunity that you've given us to have it here. I assure you, like I told you, we'll keep it indoors. It'll never be outside, ever. I make sure that that was very important to you. And it's also, we're going to take good care of it. We've really got two major functions we have for this truck, or plans for this truck in the future. One is for the community. We want to have this truck, we're going to keep it here at headquarters. We want to have it out on the ramp at headquarters for the town to see, with its story on an easel so everybody can see the history of that truck. We want to take it to the Common, we want to take it to Dean College, we want to get it out to the community, to all the feasts and festivals, and we want to make sure everyone sees it. And it's also an opportunity for us to recruit firefighters. We want to have expose this department to as many young men and women of the town of Franklin to become firefighters to serve in Franklin. So we think that this could be a nice tool for us to help assist us to have Franklin folks be firefighters in the town of Franklin. And the other big, for me, the big component is it passes on and preserves tradition of the fire service. We are at a crossroads right now here with Franklin Fire. We've got two young firefighters who are going to start the academy on August 31st, and we're going to be hiring 6 more the rest of this calendar year. I'm very fortunate as a second-generation firefighter. I got exposed to the fire service at a very young age. But a lot of these new recruits that come into the fire service don't know the history of the fire service. The Mass Fire Academy, the instructors do a fantastic job teaching the history of the fire service. But when we have our recruits get out of the Mass Fire Academy, we want them to come back here and know more about the Franklin fire history. So this is another important tool for that. I think a lot of people interchange the words tradition and status quo. I think they're two different things. Status quo is where a department just does things the way we've always done it. The way we've always done it. And I think status quo will get departments in trouble. I'm sure a lot of my colleagues that are chiefs here would say, if you stay status quo, you're not going to survive. You have to be innovative, think outside the box. And just this week, we're in the process, we're in the final stages of getting out of civil service, and we're going to start a whole new rank within a couple of weeks in the Franklin Fire Department, battalion chief's rank. And we're also, with the support of the town administrator, the council, our representatives at the State House, we now have the ability of getting 4 new firefighters who are in our plan for January of this year. And I have to thank Representative Roy. Representative Roy, I told you earlier, it's a good thing that I'm not a gambler. With the pandemic going on, we had that legislation that meant a lot to this town, for this fire department. We know it wasn't a big deal at the state, given what everything's been going on in the last few months. But you recognize that this was an important thing for Franklin. It was a very important thing for the Franklin Fire Department. And I will tell you, it means an awful lot to the members here. I think you deserve a round of applause. So you know, the other kind of a funny story is I talked to Chief Lynch usually here, and I said, you know, we had Sparky the dog here, but ever since they got Ben Franklin, they've been killing us with the PR with Ben Franklin. So I said, we got to step it up a little bit. So now, who knows, maybe our next step will be a Dalmatian front cabin. And there we go. Right there. So, and I'm going to allow you to say a few words if you'd like, but before you do, there's just one other thing I'd like to say. Is 1949, there were actually 2 deliveries to the town of Franklin that gave service to this town. One of them is this truck, and as we all can see, this truck is in great condition. But the other delivery that happened in 1949 to the town of Franklin, that's even better condition, is Chairman Tom Mercer. I wasn't going to bring that up until after the budget hearings. So actually, before Ed speaks, I think Representative Roy was going to say a few words first. So,
Chief, you're a tough act to follow. I now know how Abraham Lincoln felt given the Gettysburg Address. He had to follow somebody else. I'm sorry, Edward Everett followed Abraham Lincoln. So great job, and I love the fact that you cherish history and that you are bringing a truck like this back. So for history, really, folks should know it was Benjamin Franklin, our town's namesake, who formed the first fire department in the United States. And we remember that history. And another piece, I was looking at some documents from the National Archives in Washington, D.C., and they have a monument out in front of the National Archives that has the message past this prologue taken from Shakespeare and the importance of history. And I love the fact that the Franklin Fire Department is incorporating this rich history into how it projects in the future. You heard the chief describe, I'm going to use this historical vehicle as a recruitment tool to help firefighters get involved. Such forward thinking. I usually get a lot of complaints about you know, how things go in various departments, but I can tell you I've heard nothing but praise since you joined this department in July of last year. And I tell you, I'm so blessed that we have a community and a great town council that thinks forward, and a great town administrator makes hires like this to make this community rich. And I was delighted to meet Chief Malloy's wife, who's here, and grandson and great-grandson who gave me a lift, drove this around the block, and we had a great ride. But thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for being a part of our community, and thank you for embracing history. And sir, thank you for making this a part of our community once again. I came a lot later. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
You're probably wondering what a cop is doing with a firearm. That's the most obvious question. But my father was a Boston firefighter. And like Chief McLaughlin, like Kenny Deans, like a bunch of other guys whose dads were firefighters, were always brought to the firehouse. And when I was a young boy, I went to a firehouse, and it was the exact same thing, lot of 28 in Hyde Park. And my father used to go to the bank every Thursday. He'd get his check, go to the bank. Those were the days when banks had banker hours. They closed before 3 o'clock. So he had to go get the check, go over and cash it, and he put everything in the bank, his entire paycheck. How do you like that? The acorn does not fall far from the tree. So, on behalf of Bellingham, this truck belonged to Bellingham when I bought it for $1,700 24 years ago, and it served Bellingham for a long time. Then, before that, it was from Franklin, from 1949. And there was a lot of firefighters, a lot of sons of firefighters that are here. And there's some great firefighters that are here. President retired, guys that served on this truck, Rick Markku from Bellingham, Chief Gentili, when he was a firefighter, he had to help me back this thing up because I couldn't get it into reverse. The legend, Chief Dick Ranieri, who I've never beaten to a fire. Never. Bellingham paid $15,000 for this thing back in 1985. So you know, if Chief Ranieri got it for $15,000, you know it was worth a lot more. You know that for sure. But served the towns well, it served me well, it served Bellingham. Now it's come home. It's come back. And I remember talking to Chief Malloy some years ago when I first got it. I needed some advice. And he told me all about the truck. And you know, he drove it down to Pennsylvania to put a new engine in it, the Detroit diesel. And the Detroit diesel is still strong and loud today. So this is our gift back to Franklin from Bellingham. I hope it serves you well as it did to Bellingham. And best of luck to you all.
Thank you. Chris Small, if you have a presentation, come up here, please. Presentation for you.
So, talking with Ed over the years, I kind of saw the history of this when he was trying to get rid of it, and I asked him if he had the original picture of Franny on this before he brought it down to Philadelphia. So we had a blowing up, but I have the original picture of that. And then second picture was the day they bought the ladder truck prior to this one in 1985. And it was a newspaper article that we found on eBay. Captain Allen found it, and we went online and purchased it for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And just a side note, today's Franny's birthday. He passed away last year, so it would have been 89 today, so it's a special day for her.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. This is his grandson and his great-grandson. Well, we all love him dearly. He is missed.
Very proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate.
So Wade, once again, we thank you very much. We're extremely gratified by what you've done for us. Wish you a very healthy, long retirement out of Florida. Thank you for your service to the community. We're doing what you do the very best. Thank you very much.
23 hours.
23 hours.
You take care of this thing.
So we just thought if everybody that's here would like to get around the truck, we can all take pictures of everybody that participated in today's event. Come here around Ed for receiving the truck from Franklin. So if everybody wants,